Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Coming at you old school style. I say as if I've been doing this for like years now. So I pulled a classic idiot maneuver, and I left my whole ass fucking microphone shit that I was using to record my audio on my phone in my pants, and then I washed them. So I immediately realized that I did it when I was moving it to the dryer, but and it was working at the time, at least one of them, because it comes with two mics. One of them was working, but then now that I am trying to record, it's not working, and I'm not sure if it's just dead, or if it's like broken. I guess something maybe broke. I did dry it off as best I could, but yeah, who knows? It might be dead, which sucks because my girlfriend just bought that for me like less than a year ago, and I've already broken it. So just goes to show what a piece of shit I am, I guess. I'm also recording this Wednesday morning on my way to work because I didn't feel like recording it yesterday on my way home. I also didn't feel like recording it on the way to work this morning, and I especially didn't feel like recording it once I realized my mic was broken. But at this point, I think the universe is just trying to stop me for some reason, and I refuse to bend to the universe's will. Even if the universe is me, because I also don't want to do this. So it's giving me every excuse not to, which means that I should, is how I'm looking at it. So I think there was two things I wanted to yap about today. I was just talking to my girlfriend about this, bringing her to work. So daylight savings might be coming to an end. Don't know if you guys have seen that, but apparently they're trying to pass a bill that'll kill it. Who knows if it's actually going to pass, but from what I was reading last night, it seems like it might. It seems likely, I guess. It's already passed the House, is my understanding. It's got to go through the Senate, and then the president's going to sign it in. My understanding is that the president has said that he's all for killing daylight savings, and I don't think there's too much going against it, killing it, that is. So might be getting rid of daylight savings, which is pretty cool, because that's a very weird thing that we do. It's kind of a vestigial organ, like the appendix. It's like a thing we needed a long time ago, kind of, but we don't really need it anymore. So what's the point of keeping it around if we don't need it? So pretty cool. But I was talking to my girlfriend about this on the way to bringing her to work this morning, because she was like, well, we needed it for like the farmers, and I was like, well, did we? Like, why? I wish I knew a farmer that could explain why daylight savings is important, because it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because changing the time at which the day starts does not change the length of the day. That's what doesn't compute in my brain. It's not giving you more time, because the whole thing is always, oh, well, the farmers needed it. They needed the change of the day so they could, blah, 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 whatever. And it's like, but what does it actually do, right? Because if the whole thing is just that it changes the time in which the sun comes up, well, brother, you should just work when the sun's up if you need the sun to be up. You know what I mean? I mean, for how many years did humanity operate purely based on when the sun rose, right? Like, there was no, concept of time. Time was when the sun's up and when the sun's down, right? For most of human history. Time time was measured by, is the sun up or is the sun down? We didn't have like clocks and shit. So we've arbitrarily decided on this concept of time, right? In terms of our formatting for it, right? Hours and minutes and seconds, right? And then we, you know, for convenience's sake, we all agree to use the same time as each other. And that's fine. But then it's like, oh no, we need to change time sometimes for the farmers. But like, why? All you're changing is your perception of time. You're not really changing time itself, right? Because time is, you know, immovable. Time is unceasing, right? It marches forward and there's nothing that you can do about it. All we can change is our perception of time, which is kind of why, is it time dilation, I think? As you get older, time seems to be moving faster because it's like less and less of your life, right? The more life you live, like, okay, when you're 5 years old, a year is a fifth of your life. But when you're 50 years old, a year is a 50th. So it makes it feel like a year is shorter, even though objectively it's not, right? Because time is you know, it's not a subjective thing, but your perception of it is subjective, right? Anyway, I don't get daylight savings. I never understood daylight savings. I've never understood the arguments behind it. It just don't make a lot of sense to me, to be honest. Maybe there's a farmer out there that could explain it in a way that I would be like, okay, that kind of makes sense, but it just don't make a lot of sense to me. If your whole shtick is, I need the sun to be up to work, well, that doesn't change just because we change our clocks. The sun is up the same amount of time whether we change our clocks or not. It just don't make no sense to me. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to rant about, the main thing I wanted to yap about, so for any of you nerds out there, you weebs, Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation Season 3, I think, is coming out right now. And I started rewatching the whole show. It's one of my favorite shows. And I feel like it's a very controversial show because the main character, especially at the beginning, but you find traces of it throughout the entire show, but especially at the beginning, he's a fucking piece of shit, dude. And there's so many people that don't like the show because the main character is like a creep asshole, essentially, right? He's just like a creepy guy. He's a fucking weirdo. He probably should be thrown in jail for so many things. But I don't. What I've never understood is I don't understand why people like their characters to already be perfect. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Stories, the fundamental process of a story is that you're watching a character undergo some change, right? Or some difficulty that should, in the best of stories, change them in some way. It'll make them feel different about a thing. It'll teach them about something. You know, it's literally character development, right? And stories that have main characters with like major, severe character flaws, and I don't mean character in like the story sense, I mean character in like a moral sense, right? They are like horrible people, right? That's not to say that they're villains, right? They're not necessarily a villain, but they're a deeply flawed individual. And you get to watch this character like grow as a person, as a human being. Or I guess not all characters are humans, but you know what I mean. Like, we get to watch them turn into not a piece of shit, right? It goes from someone that you're like, yeah, this person should probably be in jail, into like, man, I relate with this character. Like, this character has like been through so much. They've grown up, and like, you know, in the short time that I've been like with them, and it's just so fascinating, right? Because it really shows the human experience of, you know, we're all immature at some point. Obviously there's levels to this, right? But we're all immature at some point, and then you grow up and you look back on the things that you did when you were immature, and you're like, yeesh, like, I'm glad I'm not that fucking person anymore. And so being able to see that in the character that is, you know, in the story that you're consuming, to me, that's like the whole point. So I've never understood why people say, like, oh, this character, the main character, just like sucks. It's like, yeah. And then he like gets his ass handed to him in, you know, a million different ways, and learns. He learns that he sucks, and he learns how to not suck. And isn't that just the human experience? That we all suck, and then we learn how not to? Now, obviously, some people don't learn how not to. Some people suck their entire lives. And, like, that's not fun to watch. It's not fun to watch characters who suck stay sucky, right? But it's always, like, fun and encouraging and, you know, exciting to watch people grow in real time. And that goes the same for people and stories. You know what I mean? People who conquer their own, you know, they conquer their own flaws, you know? But that's why, like, Superman is, like, so fucking boring to me. Like, aside from just the spectacle of, like, superheroism, most superheroes are fucking ass, dude. They're so boring. Like, you have to have characters with, like, real flaws, right? And, like, Superman is the most egregious example, because his flaw, quote unquote, as far as, like, I'm aware, as a you know, a casual fucking, like, consumer of the media, I guess I'll say. I'm not reading, like, comic books and shit. I've, like, seen movies and I've watched videos of people talking about him and shit, right? But, like, his flaw, quote unquote, is what, that he is weak to kryptonite? Like, what is his character flaw that he, like, learns about, right? Like Spider-Man, you know? Spider-Man is a way better hero than Superman. Why? Because he actually has, like, character flaws that you fundamentally have to get over in every single fucking Spider-Man movie, right? With the Uncle Ben dying, or, you know, getting over fucking, in the newer movies, if I remember correctly, like, Aunt May dies at some fucking point. Spoiler, I guess. And it's all about, like, you know, overcoming this roadblock that's been placed in the way, and growing as a human being, learning how to like cope with this loss, right? But like Superman, just doesn't really, oh boy, traffic, doesn't really have anything like that as far as the media that I've consumed, at least. I mean, I don't know, maybe there's something out there. I'm sure there is, because the thing is with comic book characters, like, there's a billion versions of them out there, so I'm sure there are well-written versions of Superman out there. But just in my head, when I think of what Superman is, I'm like, he's basically perfect in every way. Like, he's completely moral, he's completely just, he has, like, no real character flaws, and then he's, like, weak to rocks. Cool, man. Like, what the fuck? Like, the flaws that Superman has, or like the trials that Superman has, is like, oh, well, how do I save all the people, right? I have to choose between who I'm saving. And what does that teach him? Nothing, because he saves all the people. I don't know. Again, I'm sure there's versions of Superman out there that are actually well written and that give him real character flaws. But in my head, I'm like, yeah, Superman is literally perfect. He has no flaws. and that's boring. Who wants a perfect character? Who wants to watch a perfect character be perfect? You know what I mean? I think that the only way you can do the whole perfect character is perfect thing is if you're doing like power fantasy shit, which maybe that's what it is. Maybe Superman is just like the original power fantasy, right? The original power fantasy fucking anime, because that's really popular now, even though I'm not really a big fan of that either. Even in shows where it's the whole point of it is a power fantasy, right? This character is like so strong. You see that the really good ones find other ways to still do the basis of a story of a character sucking and then, being better, learning to be better, right? Like my favorite anime is One Punch Man, right? Saitama doesn't really have any like severe character flaws. I guess you could say that he's kind of obsessed with being a hero, but is like oftentimes too lazy to actually learn like what that means, like what that entails. What do you have to do to reach your goal of being a hero, right? He just thinks, oh well, I just have to like be super. I just have to be a super person and go around and beat up bad guys. It's like, well, there's more to it than that. But you get these character flaws from other characters, right? It doesn't have to be from the main character. You can have it in other characters, right? You have it in Genos, right? Genos' flaw is that he is out for revenge, right? He's trying to, get revenge on the people who, wronged him. And so this quest for like, revenge leads him to more and more power, and then he reaches Saitama and learns that, he's not as powerful as he thought he was. It gives him a bit of a reality check, and it kind of cools his jets. Oh, my phone shifted. Kind of cools his jets a little bit. Anyway, short yap session today. I gotta get gas before I head to work, so. But yeah, I guess that's it. Daylight saving sucks. Flawed characters are better than not flawed characters. Did I say anything else? I don't think so. Anyway, yap session over.